Hi, I'm Marissa Smith.
I'm Alex Kaufman.
And I'm Jody Davis.
Our topic is cultural and ethnicity. Today we will be looking briefly at 6 different topics that change based on the culture and ethnicity that one is in. The 6 topics are measurement systems, official language, parenting styles, events and celebrations, patriotism, and fast food and obesity. First, we will be looking at the different measurement systems. Here in America, we use the U.S. customary system. America is the only industrialized country that does not use the metric system. Almost all other advanced countries use the metric system. There are some other less popular systems in some tribes or small groups. Some examples of those are the base 12 system, Roman numeration systems, and the Egyptian numeration systems. When we look more closely at the U.S. customary system, we see that here in America we use inches, feet, ounces, and pounds. This chart shows the conversions for this system. When we look at the metric system, we see that kilometers, meters, grams, and liters are used. This chart shows the conversions for this system. Next, we'll go to Alex on official languages.
The U.S. differs from the majority of countries because we do not have an official language. According to the U.S. English Incorporation, quote, despite the fact that most Americans speak English, it is not the official language of the United States, end quote. United States government has never bothered to make English the official language of the country. Most all countries in the world have at least one official language, which serves as a language the government has to provide services in. Because of this, the U.S. federal government is required to provide services in dozens of different languages should they be requested. The picture shown is an example of the use of different and primary languages in the United States. Next, we'll hear from Jody and the different parenting styles.
There are 2 main parenting styles, authoritarian and authoritative. Authoritarian is defined as parents who are controlling, punitive, rigid, and cold, and whose word is law. This is most often found in Asian cultures. From the article, Role of Authoritative and Authoritarian Parenting in Home Health and Emotional Adjustment, Sartaj says, quote, parents who apply this style tend to limit children's independence and force them to follow strict rules by threatening harsh punishments, end quote. Children of these parents follow one of 2 paths. They either withdraw into themselves or become aggressive and bully others. They also are more likely to have low self-esteem and poor communication skills. The second main parenting style is authoritative. This is defined as parents who are firm, setting clear and consistent limits, but also trying to explain why they should behave in a particular way. This is most often found in Western and American cultures. From the same article that we looked at before in regards to authoritative parenting, Sartaj says, quote, parents encourage adolescents to be independent, but place limits and controls on their actions, end quote. They are more likely to have high self-esteem and do better in school. Children are also encouraged to participate in family decision-making. The parents' primary role is to guide, help, and support their children. Now we will take a look at this diagram that shows a more visual representation of what authoritarian and authoritative parenting styles look like. As you can see, they are both high in demand because the parents want to have successful children, but they approach this in much different ways. Authoritarian parents achieve this by exerting psychological control over their children, while authoritative parents achieve this by trying to control their children's behavior. In Western and American cultures, authoritative parenting has been deemed the most acceptable style of parenting and has proven to be the healthiest and all-around best for children. However, all this to say, parents have a right to raise their children how they want to, and no one way is the best way in every single situation in life. Now we will move on to Marissa and events and celebrations.
The first thing we need to look at is how we need to be open and aware of other cultures, events, and celebrations. It is hard at times to be super open and willing to learn about other cultures, events, and celebrations, because we as Americans are very set in our ways, but we must be willing to. A big part of other cultures, events, and celebrations is strongly based on religion. I will touch more on this when I give some examples. Something new that has changed about events and celebrations is that in many cultures these events and celebrations have been turned into tourism attractions. The Gathering Festival Statistics articles by Joanne Toole states, quote, the literature also shows that much of the impact research seeks to highlight the positive economic and commercial impact of festivals, end quote. This shows you that just how much the view of events and celebrations have changed in these last couple of years. Events and celebrations are often only continued to make money. Let's look at a few examples of some events and celebrations around the world. First, let's look at the typical Christmas in America. Christmas means red and green everywhere, and of course we cannot forget Santa. Christmas is a very good example of a very commercialized celebration. Next, let's look at All Saints' Day in Spain. This event or festival is a very religious event where all of the known and unknown saints are honored. Often, these religious events last multiple days and are taken very seriously. Finally, we will look at the Chinese New Year. This event is full of bright, flashy lights, decorative floats, and loud music. This is a great example of an event that is used to increase tourism. Next, we will go to Alex and patriotism.
The United States is unique from other countries through the love for our country, or patriotism. According to researchers at a university in California, although some countries are close, U.S. is the leading country in showing national, which can be seen in this graph. We show this patriotism through the special days that we celebrate the birth of our nation, and the soldiers that have fought for us, the merchandise we buy, and the apparel that we wear. American patriotism also erases the differences in race, religion, and political standings. This is seen through national-level sporting events, shown in this picture of hockey fans at the Olympics, and funerals for soldiers, no matter if people knew him or her or not. Next, we'll go to Jody, and she'll talk about fast food and obesity.
Fast food and obesity is most common in low-income families. Families who don't have very much money usually buy the cheapest food that they can find, which is almost always the unhealthiest. This is because fast food and junk food are both very cheap in comparison to healthy organic food that you can find in your regular grocery store. Families who are poor oftentimes work a lot harder and longer hours, so they aren't able to make healthy sit-down meals with their family. This results in an increase in fast food and ordering in, both of which are high in fat and grease. Food stamps also often promote buying junk food, as most food stamps are available only for junk food, as well as the cheaper, more unhealthy foods in grocery stores. Buying and eating junk food and fast food is also very common among low-income families because they have never been taught that it is unhealthy, and that is all the parents know, as they most likely grew up on fast food and junk food as well. And so the cycle continues. The only way the cycle will stop is if people are given food stamps for healthier food, and if people are taught that junk food and fast food is very unhealthy and can cause an earlier death and an increased risk in heart disease. Now we will take a look at this graph. Obesity is the most common in the United States, with almost 35% of Americans being categorized as obese. This is because in other poorer countries, fast food is not as common, and people are more active and do not have food stamps for unhealthy foods. I hope you learned more about different cultures and ethnicities through looking at the topics that we have presented. Today we looked at a brief summary of measurement systems, official language, parenting styles, events and celebrations, patriotism, and fast food and obesity. Thanks for listening to our presentation, and have a great day!